Well, let's chat today. Our friend, Dr. Bill Janeshak. Now I understand he's an award-winning chiropractor right here in Yorba Linda. Welcome, Doc.
Well, thank you, Ron. It's all like I said. It's always great to be back here. We always have fun
It
together.
is what it is.
So, what's this award you got?
Yeah, you know what? We were honored, and I'm humbled and honored. We were named the #1 chiropractic and integrative medicine clinic in Orange County.
What does integrative medicine mean?
So, integrative medicine is we kind of go beyond nutrition. We'll look at the science. We do a lot of blood tests, stool tests, neurotransmitter tests. We really go into a deep
I
dive
could
into
imagine
chronic
you would be doing a lot of stool tests. I'm just throwing that out there.
It's a little crappy job, but someone has to do it. But it's actually getting into chronic disease. Typically traditional medicine, they do great with saving lives and everything with the chronic stuff, which is
I've never known
90% of
anybody
the-
that's gotten through it forever.
You know what?
Save lives
There's
for-
a 0% survival rate. On that.
Exactly.
But people that are trying to live, and when you have brain fog and pain and constipation and diarrhea and your feet hurt and you can't do anything,
That came from my COVID vaccines, didn't it?
Well, yeah, yeah. Oh well, this is Ron Siegel Radio. We can talk about anything.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? Actually, you're correct, because the toxins that are built up with not just that, but just living life and people picking up the toxins, it builds up in the body and it starts to break things down. So all these things that people are calling, well, it's normal, I'm getting older like this, are actually chronic diseases. And when people they know they're not living right and they've had enough, and they're not, you can't go to a large local HMO and
Well, they're on strike.
oh well, they go out and they keep giving pills that don't work. They come to an integrative medicine clinic. So it's chiropractic.
Okay, so that's what it is.
So we'll do them like that, and and 95% of the stuff that we do is, there's no medicine involved. I do refer people out for medicine because sometimes people need that, but it's a very deep, holistic, and really good results.
I
Really
laugh a
good
lot of times because, not funny, but I've got some friends that are battling cancer, and I've told them, one of the things that you shared with me years ago was, you go to a doctor, a traditional doctor, and they give you a pill, and there's they have to give you a pamphlet now because of the side effect list.
Yeah.
And then they give you another pill for the side effects, and you get a pill for the side effects. Right. And they're talking about this. And I said, one of my friends recently, and I don't know, I'm not a medicine, I'm not a doctor or anything like that. I said, but I've had friends that eat ginger chews, and it helps with their nausea, and they don't need all the medicines that have all the side effects.
Yeah, and if you look at it, so this is Ron Siegel Radio and finance. So think about it like finance. If somebody has a hard money loan that's coming due and they need cash out now because the wolves are at the door and everything else, they're going to get these crazy loans because they just need it. It's not good for that. That's not good financial planning. That's just like medicine. Sometimes you just need now, no matter what the cost is tomorrow.
Right.
But come tomorrow, if you take another crazy loan and another one, people are doing the same thing with their health. They're getting one pill and they're taking another pill and they're going in the wrong direction.
That's amazing how that, how long ago you told me that. And it's just so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. It's over. And now I saw on some social media, and I've never checked it out. I've never even talked to you about this. I probably should. Is that there's actually a antibody to get the COVID, that mRNA, out of your system. I don't know whether it works. I don't know if it doesn't work. I don't know if you should do it. You shouldn't do it. I know what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will say, but I mean, you just wonder about some of these things.
And I'm not sure about that specific one, but here's another thing is that it may be true. I don't know, but we are getting so much research. Our knowledge base is so quick nowadays that when you run into a big system like a large local HMO, they have criteria and they have protocols that they follow. They can't pivot in a moment and say, hey, this new research came out, let's try this. And when I'm trying it, we're taking vitamins and herbs and stuff like that. Very, very little side effects, if any, and they're rare. But we can see if they're working. We can do the test, and we can do it in good time. So
early on in the pandemic, my bariatric doctor said, up your vitamin D.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it wasn't a matter of vaccines and this and that. And knock on wood, not like tested very often. I don't think I tested ever, but you know, I didn't get any of the symptoms of of COVID. Maybe before anybody even knew what COVID was, we think I may have, but you know, maybe the nutrition might have helped. And I'm obviously not physically fit. You know, I'm not a model child.
No.
But you know, so one of the things that right now I want to chat with you about, Doc, is a big problem I see, and I know you deal with it all the time. Is right now we've got, you know, families divided over politics, which is stupid. They're not showing any respect to one another. We've got finances that are hurting. We've got people that are with jobs that are hurting. The stress level is going out of this world.
Yes. Yes.
Unfortunately, the divorce attorneys are going to be very busy, you know, in the next quarter. What can we do about some of this stress? Because I know you've dealt with that so much.
Disassociate first to start, because, and this is when in my office, I treat under what I call the stress model. Stress is physical, it's chemical, and it's emotional. And the body doesn't know the difference from any of those. They're all stresses, and the body will create. They basically pucker. So if I punch you in the face, that's going to be one level of pucker. If I spray you with, you know, a neurotoxin, or I shoot you with something vaccine or something that's going on, or you just eat crap, those are chemical stresses in the body. Then there's the emotional stresses. If I just say, well, Ron, your show sucks, and I make you feel bad, maybe I give you a mean tweet. But
mean tweet. I'm used to mean tweets.
But the body still reacts the same. It feels like it's under threat. So if you're having these conversations, or you're not comfortable where you're going, you're under stress. So if you can disassociate a little, because sometimes when you're in fire, everything's kind of crazy. But
then he's saying when you disassociate, you know, if and it's not the case, my wife and I are fighting over finances and things like that. Am I supposed to disassociate with my finances or my wife?
Your choice.
Okay.
I know your wife. She'll find you. So, but and it's not like ignore it, but just take a step back and take a deep. You know, if you're in the fire, just step back till you just can feel the warmth and kind of get your thoughts back. But the other thing is move. We sit so long. The number one deficiency, in my opinion, is movement. Movement is not just like levers and pullers in your body. It changes the chemicals in your brain. You hear a runner's high, and
I've read about pain. That. I've never experienced.
Well,
it.
You know, it looks good on paper.
Although, you know, something I will admit that I do feel better on the weekends when I go out and walk on Balboa.
Yeah. So now
and you've even told me about wiggling my toes in the sand.
Yeah. Yeah. So
we're going to talk about wiggling your toes in the sand when we come back. Continuing our conversation with the award-winning Dr. Bill Janeshak, our local family chiropractor, and been a long-time friend. So I appreciate you coming in and sharing with us.
Well, it's always fun. You know what's interesting about the multi-generational thing? That also decreases stress. If you think about having those loving relationships inside if it's a real loving relationship, depends if you're with your in-laws or not. But you know, you think back in the day when it was normal for families to multi-generations to live together.
Makes a lot of sense.
And you share chores, you share traditions. You know, grandma would teach the kids how to cook and bake, and you'd tell stories about the family. And there's more time just to be a family. We don't settle down. We are always going. Like, as I said before about disassociating, it's because we're always doing something. You'd think with all this technology that we'd have more time to just kind of chill out, but we don't. We just add more stuff on our calendar.
More screen time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm gonna go back to something that we started talking about before, and I kid about this in a tongue-in-cheek way, because you know the Angels spent, I don't know what, $300 million to get Albert Pujols to come to the Angels.
Oh God.
Whatever it was a boatload of money. And half the time that he was with the Angels, he didn't play, or maybe not half, but a good portion, because he had a problem with plantar fasciitis.
Yes.
And I had a problem with plantar fasciitis. Now I don't get paid $300 million on a 10-year contract or whatever, right? Whatever the number was that he got. And I don't play baseball, but it hurts like heck.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I figured, okay, what am I going to do to get this resolved? So I called my chiropractic friend, and part of the treatment was wiggle your toes in the sand at the beach.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck why did that help?
So,
Because it did.
Yeah, it helped. And this is one of the things, and this is with what do I do, the integrative stuff that we do. We are not just levers and pulleys. So when I had you do that, the movement of the joints blocks out pain. The texture of your feet on the sand stimulates a different area of your brain, because you didn't feel pain in your feet. You felt pain in your brain. You perceived it in your feet. And there's a whole neurological connection about, because your butt muscles were not strong enough, that was influencing
I sit on there a lot.
Exactly. But that was influencing the feet and the way the plantar fascia works. You have fascia all over your body, and it's a neurological tool. So you have to treat it holistically. So that wiggling in the sand, there's a couple of things. When you put your feet or your skin against earth, and this is for all you hippies out there, you can either say we're at one with the world in peace and harmony, but this is the science portion of it. The earth is a giant magnet. The magnet gives off negative ions. Negative ions are anti-inflammatory and healing, and they calm you down. This is why when you go walking at the beach, that you're calm and you feel good, and your mood elevates. This is what they call grounding or earthing. But
I'm on concrete. Does that matter?
Well, you're still around. You're still picking up. There's the mist of the air. There's the smell.
Right.
And you have something else called the optic flow. So when you're walking, your subconscious is seeing things walk by you, and that's a different stimulus. You don't get the same effect when you're walking on a treadmill. So
I do notice that there's a better stimulus a little later in the day. When I'm there early in the morning, there's nobody there. The views later in the day are a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah.
But that'll get me in trouble.
Mindy, just turn the mute on.
There, that's it. She always mutes me. So then, being that I've got a lot of knee trouble, should I be, wiggling my knees in the sand then too?
So just by continuing doing your feet and your ankles will affect your knees and your butt, because it's just like, you're a simple man, Ron.
Absolutely.
So we're going to make the foot bones connected to the leg bones connected to the
singing on Ron Singer
Radio.
Radio.
There you go. Thank you all.
Thank goodness he's not an award-winning singer. He is an award-winning chiropractor.
But that's the same thing. It's the whole body will affect your ankles and knees. The healthier your feet and your ankles and your hips are, it's automatically going to make your knees better. Now, if that joint is just like blown away, yeah, maybe you need a knee replacement. Maybe you need two. Maybe just
that's what the MRIs say. But hey, what do I know? I'm just So what is this you type? I saw in the notes the path to fulfillment. What is that all about?
That's the hero's journey. Have you ever heard of the hero's journey, Ron?
Never heard of it.
So it's very. You know what? I'm gonna challenge you. Yes, you have.
Okay, I have.
You just didn't realize it. Hero's journey is what they call the monomyth. There was he was an archaeologist and a mythologist called Robert Campbell, or Joseph Campbell. I'm sorry, but he studied all the cultures and the stories and the legends and the myths. And he said, there's a central thing that happens. And this has happened to Moses. This happened to Jesus. This happened to Buddha. This happened to Dorothy from Wizard of Oz. This happened to Luke Skywalker. This happened to Rocky. Whenever you're inspired by a transformational movie, they are taking the hero's journey. And he's broken down the steps over there. I use that for myself, because like when I'm going through crap, I'm like, well, yeah, this is the hard part of the journey. And then on the other side of this, because most of us, when things get hard, we turn around and we curl up in the corner and we cry and we say, why can't I do it? Because it wasn't easy. But if in this part, if you're going to go through something hard, then you're going to meet somebody else. And you finally come through with that transformation. So I was sharing it with our friend Joe Ingram and his brother Frank Ingram. And we run a little seminar business called One Life Productions, and we said, let's do the hero's journey, and that's what we're doing.
Ah, okay. So how would somebody go about going through this experience with you?
So we're currently doing some recording with some pretty well-known entrepreneurs and authors who are talking about their hero's journey. We will be releasing this. You can go to onelifeproductions.com, and when that comes out, we're probably looking at early November. We're going to be releasing that in 8 episodes, and it's so that you can see yourself in maybe some of the stories, and you can resonate with something. You're going to go like, okay, so I'm not the only one going through this. And if I continue down this journey, it's like anything else. If I'm going to send you to, well, I wouldn't send you to LA, but if I sent you to Vegas,
okay,
and you
let's
know,
see Josh,
and you know, okay, well, we're going to go through Barstow, and that ain't so great. And from Barstow to Pahrump, it's going to get hot. Even if it was bad, but you knew it was supposed to be there, that it was normal, you keep on going. If you got there and you go like, I don't like this, and what's that big thermometer doing out there, you might turn around. So this gives you the roadmap of whatever you want. And it could be weight loss, it could be a new job, it could be, a new relationship. There's always changes, but if you want a better version of yourself, this is the path that I've found is easiest to take.
Sounds pretty interesting. We're gonna have to watch for that. So it's coming out in November.
It's coming out in November, and maybe me and the Ingram brothers will come back on, and when it's ready to go, and
I'm not sure I can handle you guys.
Oh, you can, but if anybody will have us,
that might be a challenge. Let's continue our conversation. We are chatting this morning with Dr. Bill Janeshak, your Belinda Family Chiropractic, award-winning Dr. Bill.
Yeah, don't forget that.
And something. So. If you were smart, Doc.
Well, okay, now you're pushing the limits of media.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
So you could have helped the Angels out a lot.
I don't think so. I've been an Angel fan my whole life.
Yeah, me too. So
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, and they just find a way to lose.
But I mean, from a health standpoint. With you hear about so many of these guys, and that plantar fasciitis, that hurts.
Yeah, it does. But they can have access to the top physical doctors, trainers, chiropractors, body workers, and stuff like that, and even some medicine and stuff. But there's no reason for it.
But here's the issue that I have with that. I had this conversation yesterday. And I'm hearing a lot of folks that are in the real estate and mortgage space right now saying, there's no inventory for sale, which is true. And, real estate value and interest rates are up, which is true. And they said, we just have to work harder. And I said, well, I don't agree with that, because I could go to the gym and instead of doing 2 sets of curls on my legs, I can do 3 sets, and my biceps are not going to get any bigger.
That's true.
Right? So the Angels have access to all these doctors, but if they're not providing the right vehicles, they can do all they want, but it's still not going to help. I mean, you had Albert was out for 6 months, and you had my plantar fasciitis gone in, I don't know, a month.
And remember too that, and I don't think this will become a shock to the listeners, but Albert Pujols was in a little bit better shape than you. And like I said, everything else.
Surprise, right? I mean,
just a little. But he's an athlete. There was something they can go through an evaluation, and there's no miracle cures. That everything takes time. But you could have cut that time. You stop the aggravation, you fix the problem, and you give it time to heal. And there's things that you can do that are natural things that will accentuate the healing. They'll make it even bigger and better and stronger and faster, just like the $6 million man.
That CBD roll on you,
man.
And the CBD roll on you gave me, didn't
yes, and the CBD roll on. Thank you, Justin Benton. Yeah. But there's a whole bunch of things, but they don't invest. Why is Trout always hurt? Why are these people always hurt?
I don't, something. I'm not the scientist here, because I can't even spell science. I'm a simple guy, and you look at it, and from a simple guy's standpoint, you say, okay, it doesn't make sense, because they do have the best of the best. But they've also gotten bigger and stronger, and they're doing a lot more things that maybe the body's not meant to do.
Well, that is true. And the Angels also have a unique history of buying people on the back into their career that aren't
Yeah,
when
you
you're like
can't say
23.
that with Trout, though. I mean, he
No.
came up in the system, but that's a whole different story. Let's get back to our stress issues because we don't have a lot of time left. But what are some of the things that we can do? I mean, doing a little exercise, I think, helps from what you said.
Do frequent exercise, and the high intensity exercise is going to be your best friend. But
what is high intensity exercise?
This is the one where you just don't want to do it, where you can't catch your breath and your legs hurt. This is where you're moving like I want to quit now. Your heart rate is high, your muscle activity is up, and you're straining and you're doing everything.
Now, do you have to work up to that, or can you start doing that? Because it sounds to me like I'm going to have a little heart problem here then.
So here's the great thing: it's your high intensity exercise. If your high intensity exercise is fill the tub, pull the plug, and fight the current, and your heart rate is up and you want to quit and like that, that's your high intensity exercise. You're going to get a certain benefit. If you're going to get an athlete, they may have to sprint for a mile and with 40,000 pounds on their back or something like that. But you only need 12 minutes of that a week.
Wow. A week.
A week.
And my phone will probably tell me if I'm at high intensity right now, right?
Your brain will tell you. It'll say, "Ron, stop! What are you, crazy? You don't have to do
Mine
this."
Mine says that now.
You're a radio all-star. You don't have to do all this hard work. But it's pushing yourself through that intensity. Here's the benefits of exercise and movement. That's when you get hormonal changes, brain chemistry changes, and muscle growth stimulation. All the other six-pack and biceps and stuff like that comes on, that's separate. But if you want really good benefit, it's 12 minutes a week. That's now those 3 minutes 4 times a week or 4 minutes 3 times a week to get your 12 will feel like a lifetime, because that's a long time to be in what I call the pain cave. But that's all you do. And you can work up. You should be moving frequently, but movement is more important than exercise.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting you say that, because a long time ago, I was actually given that same guidance by some, ironically enough, I don't know if I want to use this one, because a physical therapist friend, and, he said at that time, it was before I had my bariatric surgery. And he said, Ron, at your size, if you have a hearth on your fireplace, just go to that hearth and stand up and sit down 20 times.
Mm-hmm.
He says, you're lifting a lot of weight. Right. So that was now he was in great shape and he died in his 40s. So I don't know if I want to listen to him.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You will work up to everybody's different. Everybody has different fitness levels, different goals and stuff like that.
Or lack thereof.
And whatever it is, you will reap the consequences of your movement one way or the other. But it's not everybody needs to run a triathlon. Not everybody needs to do that. But you do need to move frequently if you want any longevity at all.
I'm going to ask you a quick question because Josh already told me I'm out of time. What are your thoughts about pickleball?
I love it. I've never seen it. I've never played it, but it finally got people from teasing me about CrossFit as the new cult. So pickleball is the new cult. I don't know anything about it, but everybody just says it's funner than anything that they've done, and they get addicted and they just drink that Kool-Aid and they're gone. So I'm looking forward to.
I'm not sure the drinking of the Kool-Aid is what makes them feel so good, but that's a whole different story. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure being here.